Hey everybody, Mark with ExoticCarplayplace, and I'm going to talk today about a couple of little things. Number one, this is a quick video to explain how much a Lamborghini is actually going to cost you. I'm not going to get into a ton of detail, but what I am doing is referencing a video that I did quite some time ago. It's titled basically, How Much Does a Lamborghini Cost? And I featured a lot of Lambos. I happened to be in Las Vegas at that time. I was doing a little bit of cruising around and I wound up at the dealership there in Vegas. And they had some really beautiful cars. They had some Gallardos there. They had some Huracans. They even had some McLarens and Aventadors, which I didn't feature in that video. I wanted to keep the idea down to the entry-level Lambos, again, the Gallardos and the Huracans. So I did a quick film there. It wasn't a long video, but it was a real good perspective on how much a Lamborghini actually costs. Because I know it's a very popular video. A lot of you guys wonder for the various reasons that I'm going to explain. And it has to do around, people that wonder, how much does it really cost? Can I actually afford one? Because that's always an ultimate question. I've actually asked that question myself. Before I bought my first Lamborghini, I kind of never really considered buying a Lambo before. I always drove Porsches and stuff, which are great cars coincidentally, but I never actually thought that I could afford a Lamborghini. Now, that was a very popular video. Now we're going to fast forward here to today, and we're talking 2018 in January, and I'm going to be talking about not only referencing that video, but really the biggest thing is, those are the costs of a Lamborghini. And particularly, you saw I was featuring, there was a Momo edition Gallardo there were some other Huracans and such. But today's quick video was really just a quick reference on why or how much a Lamborghini is actually going to cost you. It's not going to cost you that $150,000 or that $130,000 or that $100,000 for a used Gallardo. It's not going to cost you that. It's actually going to cost you substantially more. And let me explain. So let's back this up, and you look at a Lambo like mine, and you could say, well, I can find an early Gallardo, say an 04, 05, maybe an 06 coupe with moderate miles for about $100,000 US. Now I know there's arguments, guys. I know there's guys that say I can find one for $80,000. Other guys that say a nice one's for $110,000. The bottom line is, all I'm saying is for about $100,000, you can find a pretty nice Lamborghini. Decent, okay? So for that $100,000, and people say, well, how much to buy that? And I'm going to say $100,000. The downside, of course, is it's not just $100,000. And if we really want to get down to brass tacks, sadly enough, $100,000 isn't that. What you have to get is the fact that 100 grand is after-tax earnings. And if you look in today's climate of income tax or personal income tax, unless you're able to write that off, I don't want to talk about business write-offs. Every business has its own way of managing its losses and its benefits and such, so that you can make show a loss and actually wind up getting money back. We're not talking about that. We're talking at a personal income tax level. And because we're talking about that, if you're saying, I want to buy that $100,000 Lamborghini, well, if we're talking about a person that's making six figures, typically is the type of person that would buy a Lamborghini. Six figures, maybe seven figures, of course. But being say a six-figure income in our current climate of income tax, what are you looking at? A $100,000 car is not going to cost you $100,000. Because if you're paying for that car or you're saving up for that car, let's just say hypothetically you're putting money in the bank every month. We're not making payments. We're not talking about monthly loan payments. We're talking about saving. So if you're saving money, you're putting $5 grand a month. Let's just say $5,000 a month I'm putting in saving because next year I want to buy a Lamborghini. You're putting in $5 grand a month. $5 grand January, $5 grand February, $5 grand March, and so on and so forth. You get the point. What that translates to is, by the end of that, 20 payments at $5 grand, you'll have $100,000 saved up. So $100,000 isn't $100,000. In our tax climate, $100,000 is actually closer to $200,000 gross salary. It's because the reality is where I live, and I know a lot of tax brackets tend to be, if you're in that 6-figure, 7-figure, you yourself are paying close to 50% income tax. So if you think about, well, okay, it's costing me 100 grand for this car, in reality, you kind of have to budget for the simple fact that I need to come up with $200,000 to buy that $100,000 Lamborghini. We're not even talking about extra things like loans or leases or any of that kind of stuff where we're going to add another 5-10% on whatever that lease rate happens to be. We're not going to get into lease rates. I mean, you can calculate that all. Some of that's variable, or local markets will dictate different things. What we're talking about is strictly on income. If you're at a $100,000 car, you might as well say, I need 200 grand before tax earnings to save up to buy that car. Which, coincidentally, if you're a $100,000 income salary earner, you won't buy that car in 1 year. You won't buy that car in 2 years. Because 2 years will get you that 100 grand. But that's if you haven't spent a dime anywhere else. All I'm trying to say is, for those guys, this is a quick follow-up video. Like I said, I just want to point out, how much does it cost to buy a Lamborghini Gallardo? And for $100,000, consider this, you need $200,000 of gross salary income. Because, for obvious reasons, tax burden. And not only that, if you start adding in your other, burdens, things like I said, you've got the other factors, you've got daily costs, you've got other things like the loan interest rates. All those things are going to add up and chew out even more. But let's say hypothetically, this is your worst case scenario. The other obvious option, and there are creative people that take up creative accounting, there are opportunities to $100,000 earned is $100,000 accumulated to buy that car. Just keep in mind that is not something I condone, and I've certainly never done that. I'm of kind of the belief that, a dollar saved is a dollar earned. I've always worked very hard for the things that I've done, and that to me is the best way that you can afford a Lamborghini and rest at night. Because ultimately, you don't want to be looking over your shoulders worrying about if somebody's after you. Like I said, guys, quick video. Just wanted to give you the heads up that 100 grand Lamborghini will likely cost you closer to $200,000 of your gross salary. Just a quick, I hope you liked the video, everybody. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, and comment. I'd love to hear your kind of whole idea on this. If you guys can shoot me a comment below, that would be great. I'd like to hear more perspective on this. What your guys' personal take is, or somebody that's maybe been shopping and kind of has a different perspective on this. I just wanted to share that with you. So everybody, thanks again. Mark signing out. ExoticCar Play Place. We'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye-bye.